It feels so good to finally have a reason to reuse that intro. You know, it's been almost exactly 1 year since I made the spot review for Sherekhan Necropolis, back when I actually made that intro, and since then I didn't really get any chance to reuse it. And looking back at it now, it isn't as epic as I remember it used to be. It seems kind of basic, but hey, it gets the job done. It's funny to see, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but it's funny to see that I started the spot review series literally 1 year ago in December 2018, around then, and Necropolis was one of the first areas tested, and since then I actually didn't really get to return to Necropolis to retest it. So I did the initial spot review 1 year ago. Since then the area got buffed multiple times and I never actually got the chance to retest it, because, you know, I move on from spot to spot and I don't usually find the time to return to spots I already tested, just because there are too many of them in the game. So for today I picked Necropolis for this series, which I guess, hey, welcome to another spot breaking. Sounds weird saying it like that, but that's the name I gave to this series and I should kind of stick with it. I picked this one more or less because of a comment. You know, someone said, I asked in the previous video what area could possibly beat Blood Wolves. I made 100+ millions per hour there. What area could possibly give me more at my current gear score level? And I was more or less ready to move into Aakman and Hystria, but then I decided, why not pick Necropolis? I already tested TSHIRA Ruins and Blood Wolves. Why not just wrap up Drieghan completely with all of the spots there, so that I can have it in the back of my mind that Drieghan is finished. So that's why I went at Necropolis again, just simply to finish Drieghan. I went into this area, as I said in the beginning, with very low expectations. I didn't expect it to make more than TSHIRA Ruins, honestly, but surprisingly it did, and it kind of makes sense why. In any case, I would like to begin by saying that 1 year ago, when I did the spot review for this place, it made a lot of money and it surprised me back then, because basically the area was, let's say, more or less just newly released. It was a couple of months after Drieghan even came out, so back then the Orkinrad belt was very expensive on the marketplace. I believe it was like 80+ millions for each Orkinrad belt, and that's one of the reasons why it made so much money. After the prices crashed, I basically forgot that the spot existed because I didn't consider it. You know, once I realized that the belt is so cheap, I just didn't want to, you know, in the back of my mind say that this area is worth anything, because, you know, I expected it to be bad. But turns out there are a lot of other drops that make up for that difference in the Orkinrad price. So those low expectations kind of paid off. Anyway, I should probably show the rotation at first, like I usually do, or at least mention my gear score. For this area, I believe I also had 261 AP. If I didn't, it will be on the screen, but it's most likely 261 AP with a KAGTUM. You know me by now, I'm just too lazy. I record, you know, live. I'm too lazy to check up right now in the game. I'm not even logged in. It's probably 261 AP in any case with a KAGTUM. I play a Mystic, a level 61 character, and I have tier 3 pets with one tier 4. They are all on agile mode. I just, you know, grind my normal ways. I don't usually push myself to do as fast as possible grinding, and that's more or less it. Node level, I did invest in it. I believe it got to level 6 at most, and I have 10% drop rate from my knowledge. On top of that, we had the Christmas event with the plus 50% drop rate on all servers, and I did grind with that. I had a kamasylve blessing, so that's the first buff, kamasylve blessing. I used a 100% loot scroll for this area as well. I will make a different video later explaining the difference between the scrolls, but for today also 100% loot scroll, and that event 50% drop rate that we had, I just considered that one to be arsha server, because it's basically the same buff that you get on the arsha server. So after the event ends, which it already ended, you can consider that I grinded the 10 hours for today on the arsha server. It shouldn't be that populated for this place, so I believe it's, you know, realistic. So that's that for the drop rate, for the drop buffs, and for my gear. For the rotation, if it didn't already start in the background, I will say after the respawn rates were increased for monsters, you don't really need that big of a rotation here. 1 year ago, when I made the first test here, I actually had a much bigger rotation, and for today I used the exact same rotation, but I made it much shorter, you know, much smaller, because the monsters respawn faster. You don't really need to follow the exact same rotation as mine, because there are no elite monsters here or other special type of monsters. You just simply need to have a circle with enough monsters to clear them, basically. I only grinded on daytime. I know this place has different monsters and different mechanics for nighttime, but from what I remember 1 year ago, nighttime used to be very bad, and so I just didn't consider it at all. Maybe I will return in the future to retest for nighttime as well, but for today it's only daytime. And lastly, there are the quests. There are daily quests here as well. I tried to pick up the daily quests, and maybe I was just too lazy to search for all of them. But the camp where I found some quests to pick up, those seemed to be all for the nighttime monsters, so I just simply didn't do any of the daily quests here. So I believe that covers everything. I'm pretty sure I didn't forget anything. If I did, oh well, there's the comment section. So yeah, let's get into that Excel file and talk about my experience with this place. Actually, before that, I want to talk about the monsters. So if there's something I want to point out about the grinding, the way you grind here, it's that monsters have a lot of CC, and if you are not very good at rotating super armor abilities or iframes, it gets annoying very quickly, because 1 year ago on my wizard I didn't have this issue because my wizard kept rotating super armor abilities over and over, but on my mystic I keep getting CC'd over and over, you know, knockback and I believe also knockdown, and it's not that it slows me down by much, but it feels annoying. The monsters here, you know, spam CC, and it definitely gets annoying over time if you want to grind here for say 5 hours, or you know, make a big grinding session of 3 hours. For me it felt kind of annoying compared to other spots, just because of the CC mechanic involved in this. So yeah, that's about it. Now let's get into that Excel file. For the Excel file, it's basically the exact same as the previous videos, but with today's area in it. For prices, I updated all of them for, I believe, yesterday on 8th of January, so that they are kind of up to date with the EU marketplace. I will point out again, because I feel like I should, prices fluctuate quite a lot for the marketplace, and what I noticed that changes very frequently is the Aakman armor. The Aakman armor pieces seem to go up and down in price very often, and sometimes there are big differences, like the Aakman chests currently is almost 6 millions each, sometimes it drops to even 3 or 4 millions each, so they do fluctuate quite a lot. And also there are other prices that change, for example the Khafra stones and the black stones for if there are events ongoing. So these are currently the prices, and in total from the 10 hours I made about 111 millions per hour with that marketplace tax. Without the tax it's 124, you know, with the current prices, but I don't really like to talk about this one, because I personally, in my own case, I sell everything to the marketplace, so to me this is the real money per hour value. Now, in terms of that rare drop for this place, which is supposed to be the Orkinrad belt, I got in total 6 of them in 10 hours, which is basically the same drop rate as I had 1 year ago, which is around one of them in 2 hours. I believe it was the same, so the drop rate didn't go up, but the price of the belts definitely went down. I would say it definitely doesn't feel like a rare drop. You're not going to get a lot of your income from the Orkinrad belts, but you should expect one of them in 2 hours with my 100% loot scroll, the kamasylve blessing, and the arsha server. You get a lot of Aakman armor pieces as drops, which definitely makes up for a lot of your income. And what surprised me me the most about this place is that first of all, the Khafra drop rates are pretty underwhelming compared to the other two spots in Drieghan. It's about 5.7, average per hour Khafra drops, which isn't amazing in my opinion, especially since I had all of the kamasylve blessing, arsha and all of that. So I was expecting more of that, but it definitely made up on the other departments. Like the Blackstone drop rate here is very good. You make at least 50 of them per hour, even more after you extract the enhanced, weapon drops, which I had, I believe, a fairly decent amount of those. You do get the Garmoth spawns every now and then, which is, I guess, some nice RNG income. The Garmoth scale drop rate is decent. I got 4 of them average per hour. You get the 2 useful crystal drops here, the Hums and the blue ones, which I'm not even quite going to attempt to pronounce this one. So the 2 crystal drops here, you don't get the red one, so these actually sell for a decent price, which is pretty nice. And once again, the Aakman armor pieces are pretty nicely priced, and you do get quite a few of them. Usually I would end up an hour of grinding with at least 2 or 3 Aakman armor pieces as drops, so that was pretty nice. Also, if I can find the dust here, the dust drop rates are also pretty good, especially since this place has no elites. I wasn't expecting to make 25 dust per hour average, so that was, I don't know exactly. I find it weird describing the chart because you can see it in front of me, but yeah, these are the drop rates basically for this place. I made 111 millions per hour with everything combined, and yes, this does include the new trash values. In terms of a trash per hour number, I made about 10.7 thousand trash per hour, again with that 100% loot scroll, so I believe the normal drop rate is half of this if you don't have any loot scroll active, and that's more or less it. I don't know what else I could add to the video. I kind of have this feeling that I should have recorded this, over a week ago when I finished it, finished making the Excel file and all of it. But back then it actually was quite impressive because, as I said in the beginning, I came to this area just purely to test it, and I expected to get low money per hour values. I actually expected to get less than TSHIRA ruins, which is about 83 millions per hour. I expected this place to be about 80 or 70 millions per hour, but fun enough, it's currently the best one I tested so far. I updated all of the prices for Blood Wolves and TSHIRA ruins as well to match today's marketplace, and yeah, Blood Wolves dropped in price because I suppose a lot of people are going there these days. It may or may not be my fault. Some items dropped in price, especially the Garmoth scale. That one doesn't really sell that well, and actually I should point that out. Out of this entire loot table, all of the items that you get here at Necropolis, the Garmoth scales are the only ones that don't actually sell. I mean, they do sell maybe after a week or so. They do have to stay on the marketplace quite a bit to sell, but besides the Garmoth scales, at least on the Europe server, everything else sells. It may take you 1 or 2 days, but they basically sell on the marketplace, so that's very good to know. On other spots, there are always items that just simply don't sell on the marketplace. So I'm gonna end the video. My conclusion for this spot is that if you have the AP to grind here efficiently, I would recommend it because it's pretty quiet. I didn't really see, even with the 50% drop rate event active, I still didn't see anyone grinding here. Maybe I met 1 or 2 people at most, but the area was very quiet. So if you have, I don't even know what to recommend, maybe just look on the map on the recommended AP for this place, but I would say, let's say if you have 235 AP with a KAGTUM, that should be more than enough to grind this place. The monsters once again have CC, they are annoying, they don't really have the damage to kill you, but they definitely have the annoyance factor. And I am not really one-shotting the packs, I use usually 2 skills per pack to kill them. If you can manage the same, then you can grind here very well. I more or less see this place, I guess, as a replacement for Aakman, maybe. I'm curious if Aakman will manage to give me more than 110 millions per hour, because, yeah, let me end the video now. So, I can save the Aakman discussion for that video. So thanks for watching, I hope you found this somewhat useful. I certainly did. I will see you with the next one, which I'm not going to spoil what it is. And until next time, keep enhancing, have fun, do all of the business in Black Desert, and goodbye.